time for it. Let's go. It's time for it, man. Hey, boys, we 4-5 right now, man. We've been so up and down journey. Offense been playing good. Defense been playing good. But we haven't had that together game yet. We haven't had a game where all of us came together yet. Let's be that, man. Let's do that today. Hey, they say the Saints hot. We got that fire extinguisher go. They say they on fire. We got that fire extinguisher go. Let's have that fire extinguisher. Let's put that fire.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's B. Milton. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host here on the Redskins review. And you guys, I don't know what to say. I just really don't know what to say, man. For half the game, I thought I was going to be able to come on here. I was excited. I was excited to come on here and say, who has the best? I already had it in my mind. I was about to come on here and I was about to say, who has better road wins in the NFL than the Redskins? Nobody does. We went to the Rams and beat the Rams. We go to Seattle and beat Seattle. Russell Wilson's only lost 6 times in his career there. And then we go into the Saints, who are on a 7-game win streak, and we beat the Saints in New Orleans. That's what I thought I was about to be. That's what I thought I was about to come on here and say. But now, this is just like, this is way worse than just even a blowout. This hurts more than just a normal game where we weren't in it at all. Now, instead of coming up here and saying all these good things or whatever, now I need to come up here and say, now we're 4-6. Oh, and by the way, we lost Chris Thompson probably for the rest of the year. This is pretty much just worse than a normal loss, man. This shit is gonna sting for a long time, dude. We're up 18 points or something. We're up like 18 points with like 3 minutes left in the game, dude. 3 minutes left in the goddamn game, dude. That's why when we gave up all those points and it went to overtime, I knew. Right away I knew. Right away I knew when we went to overtime. I knew it, man. We got worn down. We got worn down. Our team just ran out of juice. They did. Or at least our defense did. I don't know what else to say, man. There's so many good things I could say, but why even say them? Why even bring it up? We're 4-6 now. We've had a lot of opportunities this year. I don't know if we're going to be able to sit here and just say the injuries. Oh, maybe maybe if our team was healthy, we would have beat the Saints. Maybe we would have beat the Saints. Maybe we would have beat a bunch of other teams if our team was healthy. Maybe if we had Jordan Reed, we win this game. Who knows? Who knows, man? Maybe if Chris Thompson didn't get injured and he played the whole game, maybe we win. Maybe that's what the season's about to be, man. A whole bunch of maybe whatever. Maybe if this or that, we would win. But bottom line is we're 4-6 now, man. I don't really know what else to say. I really thought I was about to come up in here and be energetic and just have a good time. And like I said, this is kind of worse than just a normal loss. If we would have just got blown out the whole game, whatever, we knew we lost. But we won this game. We won this game, but we lost. Don't know what else to say, man. Don't know what else to say. I think Jay Gruden called a really good game. I only have a discrepancy on one play, and it's a very, very important play. At the end of the game, there's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. Basically, it's third and 1. It's third and inches. It's 3rd and inches. And if we get the first down, the game's over. So this play is for the game. Why are we calling a long developing run play to the outside? I don't get it. I don't get that play call. Why 3rd and inches for the game? And we're going to call a long developing run play to the outside. Why not just hike the ball, hand it to Niles Paul, and say, go get a couple inches? Right away, quick. I don't understand why we don't. There's just sometimes things are too obvious and we don't do it. 3rd and 1 for the game. No, let's call a long developing run play to the right-hand side. We already know Morgan Moses is playing hurt the whole game. Yeah, let's call a run to the right. I don't get that. I just don't get that. And then we were in field goal range to kick the field goal at the end. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Kirk Cousins, what are you doing throwing the ball away or whatever like that?" But I mean, I just don't see how Kirk Cousins, the guy who's playing the call, or the guy who's calling the play, could be at fault there when he's calling the play. He knows the play. So it's obviously, I don't think it's his fault there. I think someone else, whoever else, Crowder, whatever, I think it's someone else's issue there. So, I mean, dude, honestly ask yourself, which quarterback looked better today? Was it the Super Bowl winning quarterback? Was it the guy who won a Super Bowl? Drew Brees, was he the better quarterback today, or was it this man, Kirk Cousins? Because I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins. Also, ESPN's going to go with Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins went 22 completions out of 32 attempts. Also, remember, there's a few drops. Vernon Davis dropped the ball at the end of the game there. Vernon Davis is a beast. Kirk Cousins went 22 for 32, 322 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, with a rating of 132.6. Drew Brees went 29 out of 41 for 385 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception, and he has a rating of 106.2. This isn't something I really want to talk about. Like, if we would have won this game, this isn't something that I would have talked about. But now that we lost the game, I think I'm just going to go out here and just talk about it. And I know it's probably going to piss a few people off because I talk about Kirk Cousins all the goddamn time. But, I'm just looking for bright spots. And I'm sorry, but he's one of the brightest spots on the team. So, in my mind, Kirk Cousins is he is Drew Brees. Kirk Cousins is Drew Brees. Now, Drew Brees has won a Super Bowl, but Drew Brees. All I'm saying is, Kirk Cousins is like Drew Brees. Everyone will admit, oh, Drew Brees is a baller. He's done a lot in his time in the NFL. I don't know how many years he's played, a lot, but everyone will always say they'll put Drew Brees up there with the top quarterbacks in the league. But what has Drew Brees done in the however many years he's been playing in the NFL? He won 1 Super Bowl. So yeah, not a whole lot of production as a team on the Saints, and the Saints had one of the worst defenses for a good while. But Drew Brees always put up numbers. He's a good quarterback. People will always rate him. If you ask people who are the best quarterbacks in the league, his name will come up most of the time. And that's what Kirk Cousins is. Kirk Cousins needs a defense. Kirk Cousins needs a defense who isn't going to give up 18 points in 3 minutes and then let a team go down the field and kick a field goal to win the game. Like, we need a run game, which I guess we'll transition into that right now. All I'm saying is look at Drew Brees and what he's done in his time in the NFL. Not a whole lot, even though we will all agree he's a good quarterback, right? Now, Kirk Cousins is in the same exact situation. Granted, the defense is better this year. Still lacking a run game. Not in this game, but still lacking a run game in most weeks. Defense is still spotty. Too many injuries. He's in the same exact situation as Drew Brees has been in for a long time, dude. Drew Brees was in that situation for a long time. Finally, went to the Super Bowl, won, and then now his team's 8-2. Why? Because they have a run game. They have a defense. Even though we tore their defense up in this game, most weeks you'll see the Saints have a pretty good defense. And now he's 8-2 because he didn't play as good as Kirk Cousins did, but his team played better. His defense played better when it counted. Bam! So that's the end of the Kirk Cousins segment. Now I need to go into giving credit where credit is due. Samaje Perine had the best game of his career so far. He ran the ball 23 times and got 117 yards and a touchdown. Now, I don't know how many times this year the Redskins have gone over 100 yards rushing, but I'm guessing it's under 4. And I need to ask myself, do I believe this is the Samaje Perine we're going to get every week? Now, like I said, I need to give credit where credit is due. I've been pretty hard on Samaje Perine, but so much so to the point where now, obviously had a fantastic game today, but the rest of his showing this season makes me a skeptic. So he's going to have to win me over. I'm going to have to see this again. It cannot just be a today thing, or I'm going to go right back to being skeptic on Samaje Perine. But phenomenal game by Perine. I think during the middle of the game, he kind of slowed down. And another huge thing that I think that happened, why Perine had such a good game, is one, because he was much more patient in his running. You could see the patience, him waiting for blocks, him especially on the outside, just waiting for someone to help him out, and then he takes advantage. He had a bunch of missed tackles or made people miss, and arm tackles that he ran through today. So a good game by Perine. But another thing that I think really helped Perine is going into this game with the mentality that we don't have another option. There's no Rob Kelly. Rob Kelly's gone for the year, and he's our guy now. The thing is, we don't have another option. So he's came into this game knowing that he is the guy, and it's not really going to change. We don't have another option. So I think that really helped him, the whole mentality and mindset. He knew we didn't have Rob Kelly on the sideline who might be injured, but hey, if something goes wrong, hey, we're going to call Rob Kelly in to take Samaje Perine's spot. That didn't happen this week. There was no other option, and I think that's what really helped Samaje Perine mentally know that he's our guy. And even though it's just kind of by default, he's still our guy, and I think that's one factor why he had such a good game today. I cannot believe we lost this fucking game, dude. And then when Chris Thompson got injured, and then on the screen they showed Jay Gruden's face, that was the same face I made, man. It was the same face I made, just straight up disappointment. Like I said, we were about to rejoice. We were about to come on here and have a goddamn fun time. But now, not only does this game count as a loss, the effort that this team showed means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's a loss. And then on top of the loss, we lost Chris Thompson. So I'm just looking forward to the future. It's just so much uncertainty. So much uncertainty. What are we going to do? Are we going to tag Kirk Cousins again? I have no idea. There's some more things I want to talk about. I guess I'll talk about it before we go, or maybe. All right, I'll just start talking about the entire team now. So Vernon Davis had another great game. If you would to ask me, I would take Vernon Davis over Jordan Reed any day of the week now. Jordan Reed is better at going up in the air and getting the football. He's a little bit more of a wide receiver than Vernon Davis is, but I'll take Vernon Davis every day of the week, man. I will. I wish we could just take. I wish we could just take the contract we gave Jordan Reed and just hand it over to Vernon Davis. I wish that's something that we could do, but obviously we can't do that. But I wish I would do that. Hey, you want however long we gave Jordan Reed, 5 years or whatever. Hey, Vernon Davis, you want that big money contract? You deserve it. Here you go. You deserve it. And then I would take Ryan Grant every single day of the week over the guy who didn't even play today, Terrell Pryor. Now, it's kind of questionable. Does Terrell Pryor really have an ankle injury? Or are we just not? We're just trying to get other people on the field and saving positions and telling him to sit down. I don't know if that's true that he has an ankle injury, but if he does, still, I don't give a damn. I don't give a shit. I will take Ryan Grant, a guy who isn't the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the best at anything, but he's solid. He's a guy Kirk Cousins can trust. He's a guy who's going to catch the football, a guy who's going to be where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there, a guy who runs better routes than Terrell Pryor. I will take Ryan Grant every single day of the week over Terrell Pryor. And then we let Mac Brown go. We could have used Mac Brown. With Chris Thompson out, Mac Brown would have been vital. Now looking to the future, what are we going to do? We have one running back who is now going to be the starter, and God knows how many other roles he's going to have to take now. And he's a rookie who hasn't been playing well until today. Then we signed the other running back. I don't remember his name. Can't remember his name. I don't think we even saw him in today's game do anything. So don't remember him. So we signed some random guy off the street. Now we're gonna have to sign another random guy off the street when we could have just been like, "Hey, Mac Brown, here's your chance." I think Greg Minuski had us playing a pretty good game. I think it's just wear and tear. The more that we played in the game, the worse our defense got. So that's why I knew when it went to overtime. And I also didn't get to see the final drive of the game because I had to stream the game because it wasn't on TV here. So the stream cut out at the end. I didn't really get to see the Saints' last drive. But I'm just going to assume that they moved down the field very easily. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't get to see the final drive. I saw on ESPN the 28-yard field goal that they got, but I'm just going to guess that the Saints moved the ball down the field very easily to get that field goal. And that's why I didn't have any confidence when we were going to go to overtime. I knew, man. It's one or two mistakes on our offense. Vernon Davis not catching a pass that hits him right in the face. And then once we gave the ball to the Saints, I knew it was over. Our defense, I don't know whether it's injuries or whatever. A big injury in the game. Monte Nicholson had a concussion. I think that's at least 2 or 3 for him this year. But I was wondering why, halfway through the game, I was wondering why we saw Monte Nicholson beasting at the beginning of the game, and then in the middle of the game, we didn't see him again, and we saw D'Angelo Hall in the game the entire time, and I'm like, what happened to Monte Nicholson? And they didn't tell us until near the end that he had a concussion. So, and then and if we would have won the game, I would have came on here and ranted and raved and raved. I would have came on here and ranted and raved about Bashaud Breeland, who a lot of people like to hate on Breeland, and Breeland needs to be more consistent. I agree, but then he comes in and has games like this where he's just straight up punking the shit out of the Saints offense. And I said in my last video, if we have a chance to beat the Saints, we need to stop their run game. Stop the run game. And at the beginning, at the beginning of the game, we did that. We stopped the run game, and Bashaud Breeland was straight up. How many times did you see him smack Alvin Kamara and just take the life out of their star running back? Just straight up, that's not going to happen today, and just put a mentality out on the field. Also, DJ Swearinger had another big game, except for at the end of the game. Again, like I said, the entire defense at the end of the game just seemed to be worn out, and I don't know if that's because we're low on bodies. I don't know if that's because now people are playing special teams now because they have to, because we're low on bodies. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the game, our defense was dunzo. Straight up dunzo. And the Saints finally got to start doing whatever they wanted to do. But the offense, in my opinion, the offense with Kirk Cousins and the wide receivers stepping, everyone stepping up, even Samaje Perine stepping up. Our offense did enough to win this game, man. It just sucks. Josh Doxson. The thing is, I like Josh Doxson. Josh Doxson and Samaje Perine are just kind of in the same situation for me. I like Josh Doxson. I know the talent is there. I know it's probably we're gonna see it pay off sooner or later. But the thing is, this is basically his rookie season, and we're coming out here saying you gotta be the guy. You gotta be the number one guy, when we could have just taken a lot of pressure off of him, and with just re-signing Pierre Garçon and saying, "Hey, Pierre, you're our guy, and we're gonna let Josh Doxson develop over here." It just would have made that much more sense to me than having Josh Doxson have to come in here and be the guy. At the very beginning of the game, he had the one big jump ball, the 50-50 ball, where Kirk Cousins is just like, I'm just going to throw the ball up. And that's what we need more of, and the reason we're seeing it now is because we're in desperation. We're in a desperation mode, so we're going to throw more 50-50 balls, and we're going to snap the ball to Vernon Davis on a 4th and 1 punt and run for the first down, which is a great call. Also a call that's going to be called by people who are in desperation mode because our season's on the line. And then what happens right after we throw the ball, the 50-50 ball to Doxson, and he gets like a 30-yard catch or whatever, then he drops a touchdown pass that's right in his hands in the end zone. I can't remember if we still scored a touchdown on that. And actually, no, we didn't. But we didn't because that was on the Saints turnover, I believe. Drew Brees threw the interception to DJ Swearinger, and then we didn't score a touchdown off of that. And that's one thing that a lot of people always, want to jump on Kirk Cousins for and say, you need to do better at taking what taking the turnovers that we get and turn them into points and not just field goals. We need touchdowns. And then we see Kirk Cousins go down the field and throw a perfect pass to Doxson, who's in the end zone with it in his arms, doesn't catch it. And then we settle for 3 points. That could have been the game right there. But that's what our season's about to be, is a whole bunch of that could have been this, and this could have, one thing happened, and so yeah, I mean, I like Josh Doxson, but he's obviously a guy who's going to have to develop. And then the thing is, I think P. Ryan is average, but my mentality with P. Ryan was always, maybe he will improve next year. But right now, we need to win, and we need someone who's better in there so we can win now, instead of having to force this rookie out there on the field and produce like Josh Doxson. We're putting so much pressure on people when the last couple of years we had guys, we had Garcon, we had Jackson, we had guys in key roles to where they would perform, and then we could bring in a guy like Ryan Grant and let him try to develop into what he is now. And we're just not doing that. We're just putting so much pressure on ourselves. But yeah, there's a lot of good things that we could take out of this game, but it's getting real old real quick sitting here knowing that the rest of the season we might win games or we might lose games, and if we win games, it's probably not going to matter. And then if we lose games, I'm going to have to come on here and say, oh, let's take away something positive out of this game, and P. Ryan might be doing better now at the end of the season, and just coming up here and trying to find some positive things to say that even though it doesn't matter, man, it just doesn't matter. I'm sure I want to say some other things. Niles Paul had a really good game. It's good to see Niles Paul back out there doing some things. I just blows my mind. I'm not going to sit here and harp on Gruden, man. He called a very good game, but when we needed to have it to win, when we needed to have the third and inches, we call a long developing run play to the outside when we could have either QB sneaked it like the Saints did earlier in the game, or we could have, instead of handing the ball off to Samaje Perine, we could have snapped it, handed it to Niles Paul, who's a big guy, and say, go get a few inches. Shit, jump over the offensive line if you need to, man. Get the first down. That's the game. And for as banged up as a team as we are, I'm sure we could beat a lot of teams in the league. With no doubt about it. If we were healthy, even if we weren't healthy, man, look what we just did. We went into the Saints, who are on a 7-game win streak, and made it look bleak for them for a long time. Look what we did to Seattle. Look what we did to a lot of other teams. We stayed in the game against Kansas City. We've had, up until right now, we've had the hardest schedule. The hardest. Not second, not third. The hardest schedule in the NFL. We've played that. And we should have gone at least 5-5. At least we should have gone 5-5, which I don't see that being that terrible, seeing that we have these injuries. We should have won the game today, so that's why I'm saying we should be 5-5 right now. But we should have been that. And looking back at the season and saying we played the hardest schedule up until now, and we went 5-5. That's, if we didn't have this schedule, who knows, man? Who knows? So I'm just looking at I'm just trying to find some positives. Who knows what's going to happen next year? Now, we have 6 losses. I'm not going to count it out. I'm not going to count us out yet. 10-6 might win a playoff spot, a wild card berth. 10-6, even though the NFC is so competitive. We just don't know, man. So we're not out yet. We have 6 losses. We cannot lose again. We just put a tremendous amount of pressure on ourselves, but we cannot lose again. And by the way, the Giants got a win today over the Chiefs. They won in overtime, 12-9. So this is what I was fearing, is that we had the hardest schedule in the NFL up until right now, right? And then we're looking at the ass end of our schedule and going, we get to play the Giants twice. Those should be wins. But my fear through the entire schedule up until now, my fear the entire time was, by the time we get to play those Giants that are terrible, maybe they're going to figure their shit out. You know? Isn't that just the worst thing that could happen? Now that we got through the hard part of our schedule and we played the Eagles twice and we played all these hard teams on the road and the Vikings, who are 8-2 now, we played all these hard teams, and then now we're looking at the ass end of our schedule, which should be a easy part of our schedule. Hey, the Giants just beat the Chiefs. They might figure their shit out. You know what I'm saying? This is just a brutal season, man. And talking about a brutal season, how about all the hits that Kirk Cousins took today, and that man got up and continued to battle. The man got up and continued to battle, man. How many times did he get hit in the head? How many? Even, and like I said, in the middle of the game, our run game kind of stopped. P. Ryan kind of stopped. We just weren't getting the big chunk yardage and stuff like that. So during the middle of the game, we hand the ball off to P. Ryan. He gets 2 yards. And then, and like in the middle of the game, our run game is slowing down, just like it's been all season long. And in the middle of the game, we hand the ball off. P. Ryan gets 2 yards. Next play, we run like a jet sweep, hand the ball off to Crowder. He runs the ball, gets 2 yards. And then it's like third and 6 or some shit like that. 3rd and 6. And then Kirk Cousins is forced. Well, he's not forced, but how many times are we going to sit here and say, "Oh, we need to see more out of Kirk Cousins. He needs to escape the pocket and run the football for first downs or whatever." And then he does that, and he takes a hit right to the head. At the same play Chris Thompson got hurt on, he runs outside and tries to get the first down, gets hit in the head. How many times in this game, and not even this game, but all season long, has Kirk Cousins been taking some good pressure and getting hit a lot of the times, and this man gets up and continues to battle, man. I don't understand how there's still some people out there who are not behind this man. I don't understand that. Like, do we have that short of a memory to having quarterbacks that don't get up? Has it been that far gone? Do you guys not have that in your? You can't recollect that? I just don't get it. So let's go into some more stats. So, sorry about that. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but Samaje P. Ryan has 23 carries for 117 yards, a touchdown. Chris Thompson has 4 carries for 17 yards. Kirk Cousins has 3 carries for 11 yards. Niles Paul has 1 carry for 5 yards, and I'm not even going to get into the rest of it. Actually, Byron Marshall, who is the guy that we signed, he had 1 rush for 2 yards. So there's the guy who we don't know about, really. Receiving, Josh Doctson has 4 catches for 81 yards. He was targeted 7 times. Jamison Crowder had another good game. 7 receptions for 72 yards. Vernon Davis is just a straight-up beast. 3 receptions for 67 yards. And the 1 catch to the outside on 4th down, my God, give that man some money, dude. Give Vernon Davis the half of the money that Reed got, man. Ryan Grant, 3 catches, 59 yards. All in all, Jeremy Sprinkle also had 1 catch for 7 yards for the 1 touchdown. All in all, the Redskins had 322 yards receiving. And yeah, let's get into the Saints. Mark Ingram had 134 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Alvin Kamara had 42 yards. They had 2 wide receivers go. Well, actually, Kobe Fleener is a tight end. He had 90 yards. Michael Thomas had 91 yards. Ted Ginn Jr. had 87 yards. Alvin Kamara had 75 yards receiving. All in all, the Saints had 385 yards receiving. Josh Norman had the most tackles in the game with 7. We had so many chances to end this game, and we didn't take it. And we're just not a good finishing team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They even talked about it during the game. Also, I want to throw out there, how many times did Tony Romo sit there and compliment Kirk Cousins the entire game? And then they were talking about how at the end of the first half and at the end of the game, the Redskins defense just folds, man. They give up so many points so fast. In this game, at halftime, they gave up the field goal at halftime, right before halftime. And then at the end of the game, obviously, it was 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. Down by like 18 points. 16 or 18 points or something. 15 points, I can't remember. They're down by 2 scores at least. 2 scores and so I guess it was 15 points. They're down. They have to score twice and get an extra point with 3 minutes in the game, dude. Also, what the hell is Stacey McGee doing out there on a field goal attempt? Now, there are some things I don't know about football. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. But is it common to have defensive linemen out there blocking on field goals and stuff? That's one thing I really don't know. Someone inform me. Is that something that normally happens? Do people normally have a defensive lineman out there blocking for the offense on kickoff or on a field goal? Because Stacey McGee stops us from kicking a 50-yard field goal. That's another way we could have won the game. There's so many what ifs. Another thing I want to bring up. Oh, before I bring that up, another what if the interception by Kendall Fuller stands, if he doesn't get his hand caught up in the face mask of the wide receiver, if he catches that interception, that's game over. What if? And then also, I'm tired of. It's getting old in the NFL where the offensive wide receivers can just smack your hands into their face mask, and that gets called. But I'm not making any excuses for Kendall Fuller on that play. His pinky got stuck up in the face mask. It's gonna get called, but he did slap his hands. He tried to smack his hands out of the way like that. But how many times have we seen this year? Not even just in Redskins games, but the offensive wide receivers smack the other person's hands into their face mask and it gets called. Referees need to do a better job with that in general. Not saying that's an excuse for us in this game, but in general. But Martrell Spate, if we're looking at positives again, Martrell Spate had a good game, and I'm not so sure. As long as Martrell Spate doesn't have any more concussion issues this year, I feel like going into next year and for pretty much the remainder of this season, obviously because of injuries, but I think when people come back from injuries, let's leave Martrell. I think they will, and what I'm saying is leave Martrell Spate out there as a starter. He's good enough. He calls all the plays. Had 7 tackles in the game, tied for the most. He's energetic. The only thing I wish is that Martell Spate was taller. That way he could get in passing lanes better. But the man's good versus the run. The only downside to Martell Spate is that he has the concussion issues, and if we named him the starter, who knows, he could miss a couple games a year because of the concussions. But he doesn't really get injured otherwise. It's normally just concussions. But I think the man is good enough to be a starter, and when all of our other linebackers are getting injured, it's not that much of a drop-off. He plays pretty well, and that's one of the only other positives you can bring out of the game is look for the future. Even next year, Martell Spate is probably going to be the starter. I think he's come into the game too many times and just done a good enough job for us to keep putting someone else in there for Martell Spate to have to come in again. So I think he will be the starter from now on unless we draft someone who's going to take his spot. Anthony Lanier, how many sacks did Ryan Kerrigan get? Does it say that? Hold on, let me find Ryan Kerrigan. Ryan Kerrigan had 1 sack, and I think he got tied, or he had him and Zach Brown shared a sack, I think. So again, Ryan Kerrigan's having a good year. Preston Smith, penalties, screwed us. We had a lot of pressure on Drew Brees the whole game, and part of that is Preston Smith, but this game is such a close game, a game that we should have won, and if we're going to sit here and we're going to keep saying what if, hey, Preston Smith, you can't go high on a quarterback, it's going to get called every time. We had them on 3rd down and they didn't get it. Now they have a 1st down. That's another what if. We could have won the game that way. So I just don't know what else to say, man. I'm at a loss of words, kind of, even though I just talked for 40 minutes, and I'm still just at a loss for words, man. How did we lose that game? This year is going to be the same. This year is going to be the same thing as this game. If you watch the football game, if any fans from any other team, if anyone anywhere watched this football game, they know the Redskins gave it to the Saints. We went into the Saints' house when they were on a 7-game win streak, scoring 50 points each week, and we went in there and we handled business. But when the end of the season comes, and we're sitting here and you're watching ESPN and people are talking about football, they're not gonna say, oh, hey, remember the time when the Redskins played competitive all year, but their record is 8-8. They're not. Nobody's. That's a lot of people like to call that loser talk or something. That's what I mean. Nobody's gonna say that. Nobody's gonna sit here and say, oh, even though the Redskins had so many injuries, they battled and this or that. ESPN's not gonna say that. Nobody's gonna say that. Even Redskins fans aren't gonna say that. People are gonna say the Redskins are 9-7, whatever it is. That's what people are gonna say. No one's gonna look back at this and say, "Hey, remember the time we should have beat the Saints?" And we did. We pretty much beat the shit out of them. And then, unfortunately, we lost. Nobody's gonna remember the effort. Nobody's gonna remember the positives. At the end of the season, everyone's gonna say, "Fire Jay Gruden, get rid of Kirk Cousins." The same old yada yada yada. The same old shit. That's what it's gonna be. The same old shit. Even though us as Redskins fans, we know this is a different team, man. We know this is a different team. When we have this many injuries and we play competitive like this all year long we played competitive. Even in our losses to the Eagles, like I said over and over, they didn't beat our ass. They didn't do nothing impressive. They didn't make me fear them. Nobody this year did that. We were in competitive in every single game pretty much, and we don't. The thing is, we don't get anything for that though. But us as Redskins fans, we know shit's different. We know this is a different team. We do. And a big reason for that is the two driving factors that have made this team competitive, and the two driving factors that have made stabilized. The best word that you can say is stabilized this organization. The two driving factors, and that is Jay Gruden and Kirk Cousins. But at the end of the year, what is it going to be? What are the Redskins fans going to say? What is everybody around the league going to say? Fire Kirk Cousins or fire Jay Gruden, get rid of Kirk Cousins, yada yada. It's the same shit, man. We're stuck in a loop. Us Redskins fans, we're up 15 points with 3 minutes left, and we can't relax. We can't relax. We can't sit here and say we did it. We did this. We did all these good things. We can't do that. We cannot relax. Because every game is like this. Well, all right. It's been 45 minutes. I don't want to hold you guys any longer. Who do we even play next? I don't even remember who we play next. Is it the Giants? Do we play the Giants? Do we play the Giants on... Yeah, we play the Giants on Thanksgiving, don't we? Or someone plays the Giants on Thanksgiving. Oh, well, whatever it is. Thank you guys for watching. Hail to the Redskins. Hopefully you guys keep your heads up, because we do have some positives. If we can stay healthy, if we have Jay Gruden, if we have Kirk Cousins, and we have a defense that is at least like mediocre, like average or something, we have hopes. We should have hope as Redskins fans. Unfortunately, things haven't been going our way, and I know that's what we say every single year, kind of, is we kind of just say, things aren't going our way, but this season is definitely different. This team is different. If go back 10 years from now, all right? Go back 10 years from now and be in the situation that we're in today with the injuries, with all the injuries and everything, well, we're getting blown out, son. Straight up. We're getting blown out. We're competing with nobody. We're competing with a thin line. We're competing with nobody. We're signing people off the street, and we're competing. So keep your heads up, guys. Hail to the Redskins. See you in the next one. Peace.